Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, everyone. 11 o'clock, 11:20 Eastern. Uh, we're usually on at 11. I apologize. We had a technical difficulty. I'm a very structured person. I believe in it. So if it does happen again, and it won't happen again. Okay. Trade view markets. Let's go to TradeGate Hub, where we left off on Friday. I always lead off with the Gordon Gecko. Good morning. It inspired me somewhat to be a stockbroker. I was a stockbroker for a couple of years before I became a trader. Superficial movie, but yet again, so were the late 80s and early 90s. So I don't think I can be blamed. Okay, let's start with market sentiment. We came in on this morning somewhat on the a little bit more towards the overbought territory, and that was because of the strengths of the miners and the banks on Friday as well. So I wanted everybody to keep that in mind. Right now, the market, it's a very, very mixed market. The market's up 300. The NASDAQ is down. NASDAQ's down 1.5%, and the Dow's up 1%. And I actually said this before. I've been doing this a long time. This is one of the most split markets I've ever seen. I apologize about going back. Let me get used to this. Okay. So even though that we're somewhat overbought, here's the fear and greed index right in the middle. So I said there's not too much fear, not too much complacency, hence the VIX. The VIX is down, 20 cents, and it was actually up this morning, opened up. So that was an indicator that things might not really get out of hand, or reverse, if you will. So we kept that in mind. Okay. Okay, this is where we started off tactical sentiment. A little overbought. Fear and greed is mixed. Okay, this is the sector sentiment. Basic materials, your Dow stocks, Home Depot, things like that. Financials came in at almost at the yearly high of being overbought. The financials right now are up precipitously as well. I'm going to put out a short later in the afternoon, trade only, because that means they're slightly overbought right here. You know what? They might be a buy on a dip, but when they're stretched to this level, I'm looking for a trade. I'm not looking for a reversal. I'm not looking to call the top, because I very rarely do. And even if I'm right, I'm usually wrong because the timing issue gets you. Same with the oil producers. They came in overheated on the 80 level. So let's write that down. Oil producers came in at 80, and the banks came in at somewhat 82, if you will. Okay. And let's look at energy, same thing, 82. Mining, the miners. Miners are being FCX, Cliff, some of the gold stocks. So the miners started off in the red line. All three of them up nice today. So they're going to be probably the most overbought that they have been. So we have to keep that in mind going in forward. Conversely, the tech stocks are right near the oversold. But you know what? Stocks can stay overbought and oversold a lot longer than people can stay solvent, is the cliche. So, in this type of situation with the VIX not moving that much, there's not going to be many reversals, because if they're down, they're usually going to stay down. And if they're up, they're usually going to stay up, except for these extreme circumstances. So we got basic materials, financials, and the miners overbought, tech is oversold. Let's keep that in mind going forward. Okay, so I'm building a plan around that. All right, now when I look at the weekend news, insider selling hasn't been rampant at all on the bullish sector. Gold. This goes back to May of 21. This is a year and a half chart, if you will, of gold. Gold today is up $1.60 as well. It's actually up 127. Here's where gold is approaching the 200-day. Okay, so now gold is approaching the 200-day here on the long-term chart. And then I'm going to my sentiment indices, and I see right here that gold is right now, since it's up a little more, in the 90s. Every time you can see it stays up a little longer. I'm not looking for a V-shaped reversal, but yet again, as edified by these miners here, the miners, gold, there you go, miners, is going to be up. I don't know if I'm not, I didn't short it on the open. I shorted Newmont, as I'll show you later on in this feed. So I saw gold. I saw the Nasdaq, which is in the medium range. Nasdaq has a little bit more selling to do, but yet again, much like the sentiment, it's going to be in the overbought territory, oversold territory. But you got to keep the best of breed names in mind, because you don't want to be picking bottoms on stocks that are getting margin called, that are weak, that have just weak fundamental news and just bad volume. You don't want to mess around with those. So gold, there we are. The Nasdaq's in the middle. The sentiment indicator, this is the Goldman sentiment indicator. They're in slightly less position. A week ago, if you will, everybody was all in the pool. But since the market is rotating, meaning some techs are selling off and they're going into cyclicals, selling means that they can position and kind of ease off that heavy positioning overall. Okay, so here's crude. Keep that in mind. Crude opened up what, 2% on news, precipitous news. We're going to go with that in a second. So keep that in mind. Alphabet and Facebook were downgraded to neutral at Citi. Okay, so we have to see how much credence this Citibank downgrade has. Keep that in mind. With two major indices at record highs, the Nasdaq back up key level, IBD went to confirmed uptrend. Okay, so I went to Jim Cramer this morning, knowing that he likes his favorite oil stocks are EPD, KMI, CVX, Chevron, and PXD, Pioneer. So I don't think that's a stock that I really want to fade on the open. Also, Jim Cramer 2 hours ago, which was when I posted 4 hours ago. That was about 7 in the morning. Okay, very important. Jim Cramer right now, I'm not a do or die guy. I've probably seen as much as him, give or take a couple of years. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But he's talking to Joe Sixpack, if you will, in the morning, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when FCX, and he says stocks to watch, FCX and Nucor, both being driven by the infrastructure bill and price per tariff, we have to see how those act. Also in the downsides, AMD and NVIDIA. Semis still hated. I'm looking to buy the semis on a dip. Here are my list of up gappers and down gappers. As always, keeping in mind the gappers from Friday afternoon. Roku had earnings. Square had earnings. The oils was strong. Piton was downgraded. So let's keep talking. Let's keep our eyes on this. PDD, by the way, I'm going to write that down and tell you that was alarming to me. PDD early in the morning on the bottom here. That's a Chinese bellwether, if you will. So here I posted the up gappers and the down gappers. What I also did is I said, look at the news to the right. Very good news here. I don't want to be redundant. I pick it myself. Ethereum bought top 4,000. The coach went in on silver. Good trade, coach. Then I posted the movers again about 8:45 in the morning. And really nothing ever changed except for the fact that TTD, the trade desk, a best of breed bellwether, if you will, was down 7% on 40,000 shares, as PDD from the previous post was getting weaker on more volume. Let's look at the PDD again. Okay. Notable movers, PDD, TTD, CCXI. Good morning, everyone. Once again, I'm fading gold. Gold at the upper end. We'll try a fade in NEM trade only. The coach took a nice trade on silver. Good trade, coach. And I said again in the room, the key is FCX and NUE. A bunch of downgrades and upgrades. Good morning. Drive safely. And I post throughout the day. And you know what? Even if I'm not online, which is very, very, very rare, just go to your stock section. Go to the advancers and decliners, top gainers. There's the percentage gainers and on the percentage gainers. BAPCCXI was one of our early watch stocks, lumber liquidators. Again, let's look at the top, the NASDAQ. Let's look at the price change. Oh my God, TTD, there you go, is down. Where's PDD? PDD down 12%. The first time we mentioned it this morning, PDD was when it was down 4%. That was a good trade. So let me go back. So that was the plan this morning, knowing that the materials, the golds were overbought and the tech was oversold. Okay. My Twitter feed this morning, everybody should follow it. As I said before, it's quality, not quantity. Really, really good trade here. Some of my private feed you have to pay for, some you don't. But once again, I say it every single time. These are the fundamental things you have to get down in order to have that plan developed by 9:30. I'll say it again. When basketball players come out to play the game, they don't start throwing up 3-point shots at half court, for a winning shot. Tiger Woods, when he walks out before the Masters, I know for a fact does not pull out a driver. As a matter of fact, the basketball pros make layups, and Tiger Woods hits putts, if not chips. So get these fundamental rules down, and I go over them a lot. And I'm not going to apologize it for any means, because the fundamentals are what builds the foundation to the point to where it's game time. You know how to hit 3-pointers. All right, so market, here we are. Now, I said on Friday afternoon that when the SPX is hitting all-time highs, especially into a Friday, sure, you might get a little of a pullback and some profit taking. The last I spoke was 11 o'clock on Friday, and that was right here, if you will. So yeah, the SPYs had what? Maybe came down a point, if you will, but certainly that was profit taking, and people are going to be buying to the dip, and hence where we are today in the market. All right, so remember, as I said this morning, the golds and the oils and the fins were overbought. Here was the fade on oil right here from 65 to 62. Now, as I said, I didn't want to short the best of breeds, because you know what? If you shorted the open, it's at 169 here, you would have been paying from 175. But as I usually like to do, wait 10 or 15 minutes. EOG, which is the strongest, but as it made a move from 76 to 86, that's $10, in 2 days. There's nothing wrong with taking a stab and fading a stock. I'm not going to say you're going to get the top, but even if you're wrong at 86, there's nothing wrong with a cover at 84. And one of the strongest stocks that I've been on PBF on the room for about a week now. It's a refiner. I mean, I've been building a position in that every day, just waiting for this cup and handle to come to fruition. I didn't short this. I'm going to buy this more in a dip, but that was an example of how they pulled back a little bit. What other ones do we have in the sector? Okay, Marathon, actually CPE should have been a long. CPE, a very thinly traded stock, huge short volume. Here's CPE. You put a buy stop, CPE New Year high, 42.18 today. Actually, you don't want to put a buy stop. You want to put a buy limit. Maybe a buy stop New Year high, stop 42.20 at a limit of 42.50. And the stock goes to 45. You make $3.50 right now. Maybe the fade in the channel from 44 to 42.5. As I said before, the reason why you do that is because the oil I thought was a little bit overbought. But Newmont, I didn't get stubborn in. As a matter of fact, I could see here, I traded a lot of Newmont. I lost a little bit of money. I shorted Newmont. I waited a little bit. I wanted Newmont, see this previous year high over here, to come back down. Yeah, it's not a good short. I took that off right away and didn't. But FCX, also a minor, if you will, up $40 to $47. That was a fade, considering the RSI was up in the 80s. Good fade there. Cliff, similar. I shorted a little Cliff, made small money. And the banks, by the way, I faded and I'm down in them. I'm going to fade a little fast. Citibank, I tried to I faded, but once it goes through this double year high, I was out of it. So technology stocks, I don't know what to do here. I like Micron for a trade. I know the fact that, okay, here's Micron right now. Micron's now down 5%, down $4. And coming into today, I said that the semis were the most oversold. And now with Micron, which is everybody knows, which was a bellwether. Let's go to the semis. All right, so the semis. If semiconductors are right about down here today, all right, now you have to pick, you have to think, is the market overbought? Is the market oversold? Do you want to be buying things in dips? Do you want to be shorting rallies? But once again, you got to be into TGH. You got to see what's going on in the Twitter feed. Fisker bullish, JP Morgan. There's a lot of everybody. There's a lot of all calls going off in the financial sector too. Open interest trades. ECL is open interest. Lumber liquidators is hot. So listen, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do this afternoon. I'm not going to try to be a hero. The Vita spies at the high. I'm not. This was another good show. Oh yeah, I meant to say PDD. I apologize. PDD. Here you go. Now this stock was literally unstoppable. Okay. Now I saw it down this morning. PDD. Now I said to myself, PDD is trading heavy volume. 100,000 shares for PDD early morning is a lot. Now I see it's going to gap and break the 200-day right on the open. And once PDD closed at 133, it opened at 127. That broke, and the shorts roll over it from 127 to 116. And I wrote something else down. TDD, same thing. TTD. Also go Square. When Square, I noted yesterday or Friday in the room that it had earnings. You see the volume and only had a little bit of a range. That made me a little bit nervous because Square, once it resumed, we call them resumption trades, and broke that low, that gap here. That's when a short, especially this gap here, there was nothing beneath it. From 224 to 218. Now you don't want to be wrong, and you got to kind of coddle this thing because it is a $220 stock. But right now I'm watching the VIX. The VIX is still negative. Skills, a lot of people are caught short in this, or caught long in this. When this had to move from 12 to 21, now people started buying it again, for the 200-day support at 18. Now, once again, it broke every single support. Skills, I wouldn't even touch it. And we had it here. But that's a stock that's broken now. I don't want to touch it. Another one we made good money in. We mentioned it on Friday in the room. MGNI. We bought it nicely. The stock went from 30 to 36. Now today it's lower than where it was on. It's only 11:30 Eastern. It almost has the most volume it's had in a day in a while. I can't buy that. So what I'm going to do, I'll go to my movers. I'll go to my proprietary product that I have here for everyone that I'm not really gonna post yet because they're kind of advanced, if you will. But I'll give you a little example of what I do. Let me share the other screen here. New share. Here are my, if you can see this, these are my proprietary queries, if you will. Biggest stocks with biggest losers and largest range. We mentioned Twilo, we did not mention. PDD, we mentioned. Square. Facebook's down 11. Roku's down 11 after posting earnings. Okay, there are the strong stocks, naturally. Home Depot. So I have 52-week lows on new high, new low on 120% volume. Highest short flow stocks right here. Bullish strategies. Turbo breaks up and down. Bearish strategies. New all-time highs. Relative volume leaders. You got to be on this one, relative volume leaders. What's a stock that's near the high on good relative volume? SCX and BTU. Let's go to BTU. You know what? I was on this last week and I didn't buy it. Oh, exactly. BTU, look at this chart. I was waiting for it to break out the triple top or the triple top, if you want, triple resistance. And today it did. I almost bought it on Friday. It didn't have enough volume. But once again, if you're alert, which I was not, at 534, and if you followed, hold on. If you followed my, let me go to the chart here. This is BTO. I apologize. I shared right here on BTO with good volume. As of 11:40 Eastern, BTO has almost 100% volume. Then you go to the rest of the stocks in the group with BTO. So once it broke out of that triple resistance, 531 BTO on volume, right here, you had a back and fill, and then it broke the opening range breakout. Nice trade. What else do we have here on the proprietary product situation? New daily lows, ELF, new daily highs. What I want here is most important, and which I preach all the time, is volume today and relative volume. So RVLV, PDD is number 2. Now, how are we going to handle this trade right here? PDD on 240% of its volume, not even a half a day, on 9 million shares down $16. What are we going to do with it? Bottom line. Okay. Certainly, I'm not going to try to buy a hero and buy it, because I never buy stocks unless there's something, the RSI is about 8 down here, and I might buy it for a trade. But certainly, I don't think there's anybody looking, any big guys looking to say, hey, I'm looking to buy PDD here when it broke a double bottom on huge volume, when here are my Chinese stocks, when SE is getting hurt badly. FUTU, another one. Dropped the ball there. 133 FTU 2 days ago, huge volume. And had a nice drift down today. Might have tried to shake you out if you didn't take the profits at 120. Nice bounce at 124 to 120 now. What am I going to do with FTU? I don't know yet. It's a third day down. 1, 2, 3. I don't like doing third day down. And I'll even say this here. Here's a third day down. 1, 2, 3 on volume. So I got to be careful for the third day down volume on PDD. I will trade it tomorrow, and we'll be in the room discussing it. All right. So that's all I have to say for now. Stay in the room. Get in the room. And here is what will be following the rest of the day. I'll be posting, and the majority of things that I'll be posting will be predicated upon top U.S. gainers, top U.S. losers, most active by price, good range. Here we have here. Once again, I don't want to run before we're walking, but I have a lot of advanced scanners here. Sector watch. Let's go to the materials sector. FMC first to go negative. All right, what's technology is the weakest, is 73% on the weak side. Industrials are the strongest. 91% of industrials are near the high. And the strongest right now is JBHT, SNA snap-ons in the last 15 minutes. That's how we like to trade with these type of indicators. And once again, we'll be sharing. Here's momentum indicator. Low flow winners, an extreme master blaster. I tweak these every once in a while, or my guys do. A stock surgeon. Here you go. The action is heating up right now. Volume the last 5 minutes. STPC has heavy volume the last 5 minutes. STPC, heavy volume the last 5 minutes. OBLN. Then we look to see what stocks are near the high. BTU, right? BTU is a stock you got to be in or look at this afternoon. Corvo had a nice bounce. We'll see how that works. Conversely, BEKE, a Chinese stock, very weak. So these are what I do to formulate a list in the morning. Going forward in the afternoon around 1:30, 2 o'clock, I formulate a list with range, volume. Maybe they resume trades. Maybe it's taking out an afternoon high. But once again, we'll discuss that in the room. So certainly it's a Monday afternoon. I wouldn't try to be a hero. Stocks that have been working have been the ones that have been trading heavy volume and range. But it's all up to the VIX. If the VIX is subdued, I wouldn't be looking for any reversals or anything. So, let me run to lunch. Let me get down what I'm going to do and get my list ready and speak to my guys, and we'll get back to you in the afternoon. So I'll see you on Wednesday.